Hey guys, welcome you all to a new video. This is CA Ganesh Bharadwaj. So your exams are just around the corner and I hope your preparation is coming along fine. So in my last video, I had shared with you all the deep revision strategy for your paper 4 cost and management accounting. And in this video, I am going to share with you all the deep revision strategy for your last paper, paper 6A financial management, right? And by the way, in this video, we are going to see the deep revision strategy only for the 50-mark component of FM, right? Only for the 50-mark component of FM, right? Now, so what do you mean by deep revision? Basically, in any paper, be it your theory papers or be it your practical paper, now what is not revised is as good as not studied, right? So you need to make sure that the final leg of your preparation, it concludes with the right revision. And when you are revising it, you need to make sure that it is actually being prioritized with the all-time high scoring topics being prioritized first, and then if you have time, you can actually focus on the remaining topics. Now, that is one aspect of it. And the second aspect of this deep revision is that it ensures that you spend lesser amount of time and make the maximum use of it. Or in other words, by spending lesser amount of time, you should be in a position to score the maximum weightage, or you should be able to cover the maximum number of marks in the paper, right? So for your FM paper, so I have strategized and I have a lineup of a few chapters, right? If you prioritize your revision, and I have come up with the budget also, right? For each and every chapter, how many hours you can spend. And trust me guys, in a span of 19 hours, if you can dedicate 19 effective hours for FM, it will contribute to 36 marks of financial management component alone. So this 36 marks is out of the 50-mark component I'm talking about, right? Are you clear with this? Now, so what are the chapters? First, you start with cost of capital. Now guys, of course, time value of money is like an oxygen to this entire subject. It cannot be seen, but its presence can be felt throughout the entire subject. So, but however, time value of money is not a separate chapter in your CA intermediate syllabus. It is ideally a foundation syllabus, but however, we have covered it in our regular lectures and all, right? So that is something that you need to have at the back of your mind at the time when you are preparing for your FM, right? It need not be revised separately, but it is something that you should have already learned. And by the way, guys, we are talking about a deep revision technique. So we are not talking about starting from the scratch and all here, because I'm talking about a strategy which you can follow in the last leg of your preparation. If you're left with a couple of weeks or maybe even a few days before your exam, how to prioritize your revision is what we are covering here. Are you clear with this, guys? Right? So the basic assumption here is that you should have studied the subjects, you should have studied the chapters at least once in order to make sure that you can make the effective use of whatever is the limited time available. So now you first start off with your cost of capital chapter, and every attempt on an average cost of capital gets tested for somewhere around 8 to 10 marks. Conservatively, I've taken as 8 marks. Now, sir, how many hours we are going to spend here? 4 hours of revision. It's absolutely sufficient, right? Your KD, KE, KP, KR, every single thing you can cover it in a span of 4 hours. Sir, I don't know how to revise it. Not a problem. So I've already uploaded a marathon, right? It's on our channel. You can go and watch it. And this particular cost of capital, I think I would have completed the entire chapter in a span of 2.5 hours. So even if you were to watch this marathon video on cost of capital, over and above this 2.5 hours, you are still left with 1.5 hours of self-preparation to revise it. Are you clear with this? This 4 hours of revision is super sufficient to cover this to revise this entire chapter of cost of capital. Once you're done with this cost of capital, now you can go on to leverages, right? In leverages, on an average, it gets tested for somewhere around 6 to 8 marks, right? And easily you can finish this chapter in a span of 3 hours. And if you're not able to do the revision by yourself, once again, you can watch our marathon video or the free revision video there. I think I would have covered this chapter in a span of about 2.5 hours. 2 hours or 2 hours, 15 minutes, right? You can easily and comfortably finish it in a span of 3 hours. Entire chapter, predominantly important concepts I have revised, including a few numerical problems. But if you're doing it by yourself, in fact, if you watch our regular lectures and all, you can just open the library of adjustments and run through it automatically. It will not even take 3 hours. Are you clear with this? Or if you've not watched our regular lecture, still it is fine. You will be able to cover it in a span of 3 hours if you have covered this chapter earlier at least once. Clear with this, guys? Now you can go on to capital structure. Capital structure, once again, it ranges between 7 to 10 marks, but I have conservatively taken this as 7 marks, right? And you can easily comfortably finish this chapter in a span of 4 hours. So 4 hours you spend here, you'll be able to get 7 marks. Now, by the way, guys, all these weightage that I have given, I have considered this weightage from both your MCQ component as well as from your descriptive component. Both put together only I have mentioned in terms of the weightage, right? Now you go to investment decisions, basically your capital budgeting. Now, time and again, investment decision chapter gets tested for around 10 marks. That's why I've taken 10. In fact, I think in May attempt or September attempt, I'm not sure about that, right? It was tested for 12 or 13 marks. Beyond 10 marks, it was tested. So investment decisions, either in MCQ or in descriptive or scattered between both, split between both, investment decisions is a very, very important chapter. 5 hours you spend here. Guys, it's worth it. Right? And once again, you have a revision video. My revision video is there, marathon video. You can make use of that, or you can do a self revision as well. Not at all a problem. You will be able to cover this particular chapter with a weightage of about 10 marks, right? And then if you still have time for this, spend the next 3 hours in ratio analysis, because every attempt ratio analysis, they are testing it for 5 marks. Now, guys, for this chapter, if you see, whatever I have mentioned as the all-time high scoring topics, the strategy, the deep revision video that I am giving here, the strategy, this is in line with our 3/4 revision strategy that I had already mentioned. 3/4 strategy that I already mentioned, that is basically an exemption strategy. In that, if you see, you can find these 4 chapters in the 3/4 strategy, and in the 1/4 component, I had mentioned this ratio analysis. But when you are revising, that is the reason why I have kept this at the last. Try to cover this chapter also. It will give you a guaranteed 5 mark weightage, and it's going to be easy for you. Now, for this chapter alone, I have not kept a separate revision video. However, what you can do is you can open your ICA study material. At the end of this chapter, they have given a summary of all the formulas in this particular chapter. You quickly run through it once and try to solve a few numerical problems here. Generally, in ratio analysis, what they test is that, they ask you, they give some, missing figures questions here, or they give some ratios and ask you to construct a balance sheet and P&L, right? It just requires some presence of mind, and with that, you can definitely crack this. So I would suggest that you just open the last few pages of this particular chapter in your ICI study material, and you will be able to quickly recapitulate every single formula in this particular chapter. Now, guys, if you do this in a span of 19 hours, you are guaranteed of 36 marks. By the way, I'm talking about 36 out of the 50 mark component. Are you clear with this? This is a super coverage. In fact, 19 hours, you can comfortably, if you are a person who studies for about 9 to 10 hours a day, you can finish it off in 2 days itself. 2 days you dedicate for FM. In this particular 50 mark component, you can easily and comfortably score about 36 marks, right? Now, sir, out of 36 marks, out of 50 marks, 36 marks come from here, because your FM component gets printed for 62 marks. If you see, your FM component gets printed for 62 marks. So how 62 marks? Your 15 marks in your MCQ component, right? And in your descriptive component, if you see, there is the first question, which is a mandatory question that carries 15 marks, right? And question number 2 comes for 10 marks. Question number 3 comes for 10 marks. And question number 4, it comes for 10 plus 2. That is basically the breakup of this is 4 plus 4 plus 2 or 2. That is, there is an internal choice here. Generally, this question is a fully theory question, right? So that, and basically the rule here is, out of the last 3 questions, you should attempt any 2. In case you're going for a theory question, then it means you have an internal choice also. So if you add it up, it comes to a total of 62 marks. Out of these 62 marks, you should be writing for 50 marks. And out of these 50 marks, I am telling you, these 5 chapters, if you spend 19 hours, it gives you a coverage of 36 marks. Are you able to understand this? Now, this is time tested, guys, right? Based on the past 2 attempts, the question paper. Basically, it's only been 2 attempts now since the new syllabus was introduced. And based on analysis of all your MTPs and RTPs, somehow I'm able to come up with this particular conclusion that you prioritize on these chapters and it will give you an excellent coverage of 36 marks. Just 19 hours, guys. It gives you a coverage of 36 marks. That's like, that's a very good coverage. Now, sir, then you have not covered basically the chapters that I have not covered here in the deep revision strategy is that your working capital management, then your dividend decisions, and then your 2 theory chapters. The first one is scope and objective, then you have financing decisions. 2 theory chapters I have not covered. Sir, working capital management, you mean to say it will not come? No, that's not what I'm saying. It will definitely come. It will definitely come. But for you to cover working capital management, which has about 5 to 6 units inside that chapter, it will take a lot of time and it will be tested for somewhere around 10 marks. Now, what I would suggest is you first prioritize and finish these 5 chapters. If you're still left out with time, you can definitely and happily go and do working capital management, but don't take it initially, because for the time that you are spending, it anyways contributes 10 marks. Rather, you can spend whatever limited time here, you can spend it for the remaining chapters. It contributes to 36 marks, and then whatever is the time left over, if you still have some time, you can definitely go about with working capital management and dividend decisions and also the theory chapters based on your time availability. Are you clear with this? So basically here the objective is actually prioritizing your order of revision based on all-time high scoring topics. And guys, this is time tested and proven. Now, for those who feel FM is difficult, I am breaking it down right in front of you and telling you 19 hours is all you need to get a coverage of 36 mark in the FM component alone, right? And over and above this, you have SM component. Easily you can score an exemption in this last paper, paper 6. It is definitely a possibility, provided you prioritize and do the order of revision in a manner in which I've given you. So you first start with cost of capital, then you go to leverages, then capital structure, investment decisions, ratio analysis, and then if you still have time for your FM preparation, you can go about with the other chapters. So this is what I would suggest can be followed for the purpose of your last minute revision. And trust me guys, this is going to really step up your preparation and it will become a game changer in your exams. So I hope you found this video useful and all the very best for your exams. I will meet you all in CA final. That's it from my side for today, guys. Bye-bye.